Hey YouTubers, it's Charlie. So this week on Game of Thrones, we're going to get to meet the Sand Snakes for the first time. They're going to be a little bit different on the show than they are on the books. So what I'm going to do is do a breakdown of their history in the books and then talk about some of the minor changes the show is making. Just like a lot of other characters that they end up changing from the books, what I think is going to happen is they'll give them story from characters that they cut out. So just careful for spoilers for everything that's happened on the show so far. So in the books, there are 8 total Sand Snakes. They're the bastard daughters of Oberyn Martell and various women. The show is only doing 3 of them, Obara, Nymeria, and Tyene. On the show, Nymeria and Tyene are both the daughters of Ellaria Sand. That's a big change from the books. In the books, Ellaria is the mother of the 4 youngest Sand Snakes, ones that are like really, really young. They don't get a whole lot of time in the story. They just, they run around and play in the water gardens. It's the oldest Sand Snakes that really contribute to the plot. Obara Sand is the oldest, so on the show, she's actually probably one of the least changed characters. She's still the daughter of a mystery prostitute. They never say who. When she was old enough, he came to claim her. He threw a spear down in the sand and says, you choose the spear, which represented a life with him, or you choose your mother, and she chose the spear. All 8 daughters are bastards, but they all have very different personalities. Obara is the most militaristic. She chose very martial pursuits. In the book, she's around like Jaime Lannister, Cersei Lannister age. The show has changed that just because it's aged all the characters up. Jaime, Cersei Lannister, nearing their 40s. Although on the show, based on the actress that they cast, it seems like she is closer to her 30s, late 20s maybe. Because Obara is such a warrior, she uses a number of weapons very effectively, most notably the spear and the whip, the same type of spear that Oberyn Martell used. But because, the show wants to distinguish the characters, it's giving each of the Sand Snakes that it's doing a separate weapon. That is to say, it's kind of showcasing different specialties for each of the characters, which is true of the books too. Each of the Sand Snakes have their own specialties. But because they're simplifying the characters just a little bit, we might not see some of those. Moving down the list is Nymeria Sand. She's like the next oldest Sand Snake, this actress right here on the show. Her mother is actually a noblewoman from Old Volantis. Remember, that was the place where Tyrion just got bogarted by Jorah Mormont. Oberyn Martell's famous for having sex with like half the world, so she's just more proof that he has children all over the world. There are a couple big differences between her and Obara Sand in the books. Nymeria is much more elegant, more refined, and she uses different weapons. Obara is like the rough and tumble Sand Snake. She's just as likely to get into like a drunken fist fight. Nymeria is a little more calculating, a little more withdrawn. She's also said to be one of the most beautiful Sand Snakes. You could say that's a matter of opinion on the show, but Jessica Henwick, very beautiful. In the trailers, they've shown her using the whip, whipping the bucket off of that person's head that's buried in the sand. In the book, she actually uses daggers, which it looks like they've given to Tyene Sand. So you can see how like they've given each of the Sand Snakes their own type of weapon to be awesome with. Moving further down the list is Tyene Sand. She's the daughter of Oberyn Martell in a mystery septa. There's a whole lot of theories that she might secretly be a Waynwood and have some sort of claim on the Eyrie, but that's just a wild theory that hasn't been debunked yet. The show isn't going to be doing any of that. In the context of the books, her mother was a septa near Highgarden. It just talks about her crossing the Mander River with Oberyn to visit her mother once, and the Mander runs through the Reach. On the show, it looks like she'll be using daggers a lot. You could say Nymeria's daggers. Maybe she just borrowed them from her. In the books, she is the expert of poisons that Oberyn Martell was. So moving down the list to Sand Snake number 4, we're getting into like Sand Snakes that the show is not doing. Sarella Sand is the daughter of Oberyn Martell and a woman from the Summer Isles. So far, the show hasn't traveled directly to the Summer Isles. We might see that in the future, though. It's way down here, so you can see why we haven't seen it yet. Most of our time on the show has been spent way further north. I know a lot of you are really hoping to see the southern continent at some point. If we do go there, we would definitely see the Summer Isles, just because it's so close. Really, it just depends on which characters the show is going to do. So moving down the list, we have the 4 Sand Snakes that are the daughters of Ellaria Sand in the books. We're not going to see any of these characters because Ellaria Sand, they kind of gave the Eyrie and Martell storyline and made 2 of the older Sand Snakes her daughters, so you can see they've changed a lot of that. But in the books, the oldest of Ellaria's children is Elia Sand, named after Oberyn's sister, of course. She's said to be really fond of horses and jousting. Imagine a really tiny version of Brienne charging on a horse. There actually is some precedent for some really, badass women in recent memory in Game of Thrones history. Lyanna Stark was actually supposed to be a pretty decent fighter. Remember, she looked like Arya Stark, or Arya Stark looks like her, so the fact that Arya is going to be training with weapons kind of pays honor to Lyanna's memory, although Arya never knew her. The next oldest Sand Snake is Obella, then Dorea, and Loreza. All the Sand Snakes in the books and in the TV show are bastards, but they do have varying degrees of noble blood. When I say that, I mean on their mother's side, with the exception of maybe Obara Sand, whose mother was a whore. The show hasn't really explained it a lot, but Alaria Sand is actually the bastard daughter of Lord Harmon Uller. He's one of the noble houses sworn to House Martell, just like, say, the Karstarks are sworn to the Starks. But it looks like the show might not be doing Lord Harmon Uller, so it might not go into her backstory in that way. In the books, Harmon actually accompanied Oberyn Martell to King's Landing, so we would have seen him in season 4 if the show was going to do him. Here's my big question for you guys. Which Sand Snake on the TV show are you most looking forward to? I mean, Obara seems like the most badass one, but because of some of the changes they made, it seems like they're all going to be badass. They're like a group of characters that can't help but make a mess of things. At least that's the way they look. So I think that they'll be safe to season 6. I do think there's going to be a big WTF death in the Dorne storyline, but I don't think it's going to be any of the Sand Snakes. It just seems like the characters who always make a mess of things have the best chance of surviving just because they're more interesting. You could point to Oberyn Martell as someone that makes a mess of things, and he died within the span of a season, but I feel like the show was just putting him forward as almost being invincible, and that's usually when it pulls the rug out from under you. The minute someone, cackles in like comic book villainy and seems too invincible, usually that's when they're getting ready to go down. But you guys can let me know, which character as part of this giant Dorne storyline, wherever they might be from, do you think is going to die before the end of the season? Based on the number of episodes we have left, there's only a certain amount of time for them to do like big WTF deaths. Usually by the time we hit episode 4 or 5 each season is really when stuff starts going crazy. Dorne, hands down, I think is going to be one of the most interesting new places that the story has gone. It's just a whole new group of people that we haven't spent 3 or 4 years with already. Fresh meat for the grinder. So as we go along this season, if there's any specific Dorne or House Martell related story that you guys want me to do a bonus video for, just let me know. Don't forget, tonight is a new round of the giveaway, so be sure to subscribe to get my episode video. I'll post it after the episode airs. If you guys have been using HBO Now, let me know what your experience has been like. I've actually been using it to watch the season. It's actually been pretty stable. It hasn't crashed like HBO Go did last year, so it's actually been really nice. So while you guys wait for me to post that episode video tonight, you can click here for last week's episode, and you can click here to learn all about the history of Winterfell. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. Let's high five. I'll see you guys tonight.